Hi. Many times we feel we can't participate in a conversation because we feel we don't know many words, or sometimes we cannot understand the words that others use. But you have to understand this that English is just a language. It's about getting your thoughts, your opinions across to the other person. Knowing the right word certainly helps, but nothing should actually stop you from communicating well in English, even if you have to use maybe longer sentences or different words, maybe two or three words put together where one could do the trick. Anyway, let's put a stop to all that and look at how easily can we increase our repository or vocabulary of words using some very well-known word fundamentals. So let's start with a simple word root, that is to see. So this essentially has its root in Latin, which is like the word spect. You'd have guessed where this is going to go. Similarly, another variant of this is essentially spic, S-P-I-C, and you will use this word also whenever the context is there to see something. Now I'll tell you, over the next 4 to 5 minutes, you're going to be learning 20 words. Yes, 20. And you're going to be remembering them very well. Alright, so let's move on. Spect as in see, to see things. Alright, so make this your word root. Okay, now let's see some of the words. Spectator. Pretty straightforward. A person who sees an event. I was a spectator at the last test match in which Sachin Tendulkar played. Expect. So what can I look forward to? That's like waiting to see. Spectacle. Wow, the fireworks yesterday was an amazing spectacle. Alright? Spectacles. These are nothing but glasses. Yeah, I have a friend of mine who wears spectacles. Then spectacular. The spectacle was spectacular, something that was like really worthy of seeing. The circus was spectacular, the match was spectacular. And you can concoct so many sentences from this. Spectre. This is an interesting word, and this usually finds its usage in a lot of novels, especially of the horror kind. A spectre usually refers to a ghost or an apparition which you have see, but maybe it's there or it's not there. So that's a spectre. So his face grew white as if he had seen a spectre. That's the way I'll use it. Next is inspect. The teacher carefully inspected the answer sheets. Right? And so then what would that make somebody who does this job? It's an inspector. Not only the police type, but we have a lot of other inspectors. A suspect. Somebody with whom I have something to figure out. Okay, there is some suspicion around this guy here. So he's a suspect. And the next word is perspective. Perspective essentially looks at things from my point of view versus your point of view. So you have a perspective on certain issues. I have a perspective on certain issues. So that's what perspective would be. Introspect. Here you just take the word root spec and combine it with in, which is like looking inside. So introspect, essentially you're looking within. An example sentence would be meditation allows you to introspect. So the very process of meditation helped him to introspect deeply, and he found out there were some very basic fears which we did not need to have. Retrospect. Retrospect is looking at things and analyzing them over the past. It's like maybe taking certain things, analyzing the trend. You're going retro. Basically, you're going to the past. We'll remember this word retro. We'll use this in a lot of words moving forward. Next is circumspect. I love this guy. He's so circumspect in whatever he does. which means he's cautious. He looks around. It also means you have an approach. It tends to look at everything around certain things. You're making sure, you're making doubly sure. Right? Respect. Looking at something in a good way. Prospect. Actually, the same word root as progress, which means it is something that you're seeing a good future with. It's a prospect. The prospect to bride, the prospect to groom. Right? Conspicuous. Something that actually stands out, which is very easy to see. His dressing was conspicuous in the crowd. Suspicious. I have my suspicions on the suspect, remember? Despicable. This is essentially on what the famous animation movies Despicable Me, both parts are made on. Despicable is something that is seen as repulsive. So as a villain, like Despicable Me. Yeah. Perspicacious. This is a person who really has an insight and understands things very well. So this is also the word root for another word which is to be perspicuous, perspicuity. So that's where it all comes in from. Thorough, being very, very thorough. Speculate. See, with assumptions. You speculate on the share market. You're making your own assumptions there. Alright? So let's pause here. What if I told you you had actually seen 20 words? Alright? So let's do a quick review of these words. Spectator, one who sees an event. Expect, waiting to see. A spectacle, something that is seen, an event or a show. Spectacles, your glasses. Spectacular, something that's worthy of seeing. Spectre, a ghost, an apparition, a phantom, basically something that is sure to give you a shiver or a scare. Spectre. Inspect, look at something carefully. Inspector, the person who actually inspects or one who looks into something. Suspect, look at somebody with suspicion. Perspective, my point of view, your point of view, we see it in a different way. Introspect, looking within. Retrospect, looking back, analyzing the past. Circumspect, looking around, circum, right? This essentially also forms the word meaning for a lot of other words. Circumference and stuff, circumambulation, which we'll see later. But yeah, circumspect is somebody who looks around and is thorough. Respect, looking at something in a good way. A prospect, looking at something in a future-oriented way. Conspicuous, something that stands out, easy to see. Suspicious, seeing with suspicion. Despicable, something that is repulsive, something that should not be seen. Perspicacious, thorough, detailed. And speculate, as in looking at it with assumptions. I speculate on the share market quite a lot. That would be an example sentence. Look at these words, pause the video here for a minute and come up with words or sentences that you feel that you can fit for each of these words. And voila, before you know it, you have covered 20 words. And next time you see these roots, speak or spec, you sure know how to derive the meaning without thinking. Alright, thank you.